Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right, next one I got here is from Adam T. This is a two-parter. Usually I only do one question per person, but these are kind of relative. Um, Adam asks, what's an effective insulin protocol for both off-season and fat loss phases? Is insulin more advantageous in one phase or the other? And how do GLP-1s change the conversation? Is combining them with insulin overkill effective or counterproductive? All right, so let's back up here. I'm going to unpack some things here with the insulin use thing. Insulin works. Insulin is can be very productive for a pro bodybuilder. Somebody aspiring to be a pro bodybuilder or competitive bodybuilder. I would say for the average gym bro, I probably wouldn't take the risk. Here's the thing with insulin: you have to know how to do math. And you have to be good at tracking your numbers. You have to be diligent with your diet. You have to be diligent with weighing your food. You have to be probably be smart to wear a CGM, or at the very least be checking your glucose levels multiple times per day. You have to be able to understand how to measure out insulin. And all of these things seem to be stuff that most bros are, no offense, you're probably plenty smart enough, Adam, but most bros I run into are too fucking dumb to be able to handle all that stuff. It's too many moving parts. If you fuck up with insulin and you double the amount of insulin that you take, let's say you take 20 units instead of 10, you might fucking die. Whereas if you took 500 milligrams of testosterone instead of 250, whatever, you're probably going to bang the shit out of your girlfriend and feel like a porn star. And it's not the same equivalency. Insulin does carry some risk of acute death if you're not good at math and if you're not disciplined with your diet. So just getting that warning out of the way. Can't be a dumbass and take insulin. It's not productive. And I would say, look, for just the average guy trying to be fit, healthy, maybe look a little good, be a little bit jacked, I probably wouldn't fuck with it at all. The juice is not worth the squeeze. And that's the thing about insulin. The more you expose yourself to insulin, the more at risk you are of insulin resistance. You can turn yourself into a type 2 diabetic over time if you abuse insulin too much. Now, with that said, I'm not one of these guys out there to lecture people and tell them what they can and can't use. I'm an idiot and I'm going to try it anyway. And I think most of you are. So we want to talk about safer use, how to safer use it. The way I like to use insulin is in an off-season phase, and I run it on my high days only, because on carb cycling, those are going to be days where I am eating a surplus of carbohydrates, quite a bit of carbohydrates. In my case, usually I'm at 1,000 or more grams of carbohydrates on a high day. And with that many carbohydrates in play, the risk of going hypo is very low. It is probably close to zero unless you really, really fuck up. The amount of carbohydrates is going to protect you from screwing up. And it's also a good day for supercompensating glycogen. We're going to have the increased GLUT4 transport around the workout window on those days. We're going to have increased amino acid uptake, all of these other benefits of using the insulin on that high carbohydrate day. And then we're also limiting our exposure to the insulin, protecting ourselves from insulin resistance long term. If you're guys using it every day, if you're having to use insulin every day, you probably are going to end up with some insulin resistant issues if you already don't have any insulin resistance issues. I hear guys a lot of times using Lantus. I've lectured people about this before because their glucose levels are running high. Well, if your glucose levels are running high and you have to use Lantus to bring them down, you've got a problem going on somewhere. You're probably insulin resistant, or you have some sort of pancreatic insufficiency. You got a bigger fucking issue going on. When it comes to diet phases, when you're in a deficit, you probably don't need it. I'm a diabetic, man. And I find that on contest prep, I end up having to yank out the insulin altogether. I don't need it. My insulin sensitivity is so high. I'm in a caloric deficit. I'm glycogen depleted. And usually what ends up happening if I try to run insulin, when I am on a diet phase, I end up just going hypo. And not to mention that insulin is going to turn off the signaling for fat burning. When insulin is present, you're likely not going to be burning fat. So it's to me, it seems counterproductive, maybe outside of the occasional carb loading day on a diet phase, and eventually I end up having to drop it altogether. Now, how do GLP-1s fit into all this? GLP-1s on paper are going to increase your body's natural insulin production and improve insulin sensitivity. So it's killing two birds with one stone. I would say if you're a recreational bodybuilder, you're not a competitive bodybuilder, I would look at using a GLP-1 before I would consider using insulin. Everybody I've seen use a GLP-1 has gotten leaner. Everyone I've seen use a GLP-1 has ended up improving their glucose control. Everyone I've seen use a GLP-1 ends up having better lipid profiles. It's just, improves health overall. Blood work improves. Now, there are risks with those too. I'm not saying they're without risk. There are risks with using GLP-1s. Gastric emptying, slow gastric emptying can be a big problem. The upset stomach and tachycardia can be an issue with some people. So it's just things to be aware of when you're taking a GLP-1. I found that it's really difficult to eat enough calories to grow when taking a GLP-1. Personally, I have a low appetite to begin with, and I would be really cautious using insulin with GLP-1s if you're thinking about that, because the increased insulin sensitivity and your body's increased production of insulin, increased insulin secretion, it's likely that you're going to be at a higher risk of going hypo. Hell, when I was taking retatrutide earlier in the year, I'm a diabetic. I would just randomly go hypo all the fucking time for no fucking reason. And I'd just go hypo. So that is something to be aware of when running a GLP-1. So you probably wouldn't be wise for an amateur, if you're an amateur, to be using insulin with a GLP-1. So I would probably start with the GLP-1 before I would deploy insulin. Now, if you're a guy looking to be a top level pro, now look, all the fucking cards are on the table. We know that. I'm not going to blow smoke up your skirt and tell you you're not, but be intelligent about it. Be smart. Make sure you understand what's going on with these tools before you deploy them, and just be careful.